Hello, hello, guys. Welcome to Brazen. We have a woman here with us today who has the most interesting way of approaching coaching, the most interesting way of doing that. She is one of the most incredible women to speak to because, Holly, you have an amazing perspective about so many things, including what it feels like to go through premenopause stages and different chapters in your life. And you are also one of the most empowered women that I've ever spoke to. You have been in a couple different events that I have hosted, and every time I see you, every time I chat with you, you are always just shining light wherever you go. It's such an honor to have you here. Thank you for being a part of today's episode. And just to let you guys know who Holly is, Holly Jones is here, and she is a women's health coach who specializes in helping premenopausal women master their hormones in order to thrive through their next phase of life. Holly, thank you for being here. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you so much. That was such an amazing introduction. Thank you. So I'm a women's health coach helping kind of perimenopausal women go through the transition that is menopause. I do this kind of through menstrual cycle awareness, through lifestyle practices, and through my own personal experience of going through early menopause at 36. So, the average age is 51, but you can have symptoms sort of up to 10 years before then. So it is a little bit early, but it's not unheard of. So I kind of want to get the information out to as many women as possible, kind of before you're hitting the 40 age bracket when symptoms are going to start to creep in so that you can get a full understanding of what the hell is going on in your body when your hormones start to go a little bit haywire, which they will. So that's kind of what I want to do, and just want to completely change the narrative around it, that it's not something to be feared, it's something to be embraced.
Mm, thank you for existing. I know I said that before we pressed record, but truly, like, it is so refreshing that we live in a time where women are standing up. And, before we press record, you said, menopause and premenopause are something that, especially in the media, they're so feared. And, it's so frustrating as well that women's bodies are seen, or have been seen, I should say, as trends. And, this year we all want big asses. This year we all want, this type of hair. Like, our bodies are not fucking trends. And no part of our bodies are something to hide or be ashamed of, for goodness sake. And I feel like, especially when we are in the stages of life where we are bleeding and where we are learning ourselves there, that is so negatively looked at as well. Thankfully, that's changing a lot. And women like you, again, thank you for existing. Thank you for doing this work. Thank you for speaking up about it, because I truly had not a damn clue about what was on the horizon for me. And just meeting you and knowing that you do this type of work really created a buzz within me to do a bit more research myself. So thank you for doing this work. And I have to know, what was your journey to get here? How did you get to a space where you wanted to teach this?
So I'd always done kind of jobs over the years, when you've like bounced around things, hospitality and offices. And then I really enjoyed going to the gym, lifting weights, and felt really empowered. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to train to be a personal trainer. So that's kind of how the journey started. And then I started to get some perimenopausal clients. I kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit hole to kind of investigate that more and do some more courses. And then at the end of 2022, got diagnosed with early menopause and was like, okay, this is clearly the path that I'm supposed to be on. Like, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I felt so passionate about it. And I wanted to help as many women as possible to get their hormones into a place and get themselves into a place of like readiness, ready for this next chapter of life. Because, like you said, nobody kind of tells us that for the rest of your life, kind of after menopause, your postmenopause, and that's it for the rest of your life. And we're told about pregnancies and periods to a degree, not really.
Right, right.
Anything, just like, yeah, you bleed once a month, but there's a lot of power in that, which I will dive into. um but then they're not told that all these things happen with your hormones as you get older. Hormones decline, but it's not just like a steady decline, it's a nice like jaunt. No, they go like completely haywire, like all over the shop. So one week you're fine, then the next week, like you don't want to leave the house, like you're crying, you don't know why, you've lost your rag with everybody. So yeah, there's a lot to deal with. And I truly believe that if you can kind of tap into who you truly are and understand you now before the hormones start going haywire, it's just going to make your journey so much easier. And that's kind of how I'm here now doing what I'm doing.
So I'm guessing then you tapped in big time to who you were in order to do that. So what was that journey like? Because it's the awakening process for everyone is always so different and
Yeah.
always such an incredible story. So do tell, what was yours?
Yeah, so I mean, it's probably really fully awakened in only in the past 6 months. I've been on this journey for about 3 years, but the past 6 months since I've really tapped into doing menstrual cycle awareness, which is basically tracking your cycle, but not just understanding what day you're on. It's
Yeah.
understanding the different phases of the cycle and really tapping into the energies, the synchronicities, sexual energies, and understanding why you feel like you do at a certain point in your cycle and to know that that's completely natural and normal because that's not something we're taught. Like women
Yeah.
are cyclical beings, we have 28-ish day cycle. Men are 24 hours. So the world that we live in is built for men, unfortunately, not for women. And especially women who say go to the gym, like one week they're hitting their PBs and then the next week they're like, I can barely lift that weight. And that's okay, that's normal. But again, we're not taught that. So me really tapping in and practicing menstrual cycle awareness has been like a massive eye opener and has allowed me to really tap into knowing who I am because I understand how I'm supposed to feel at the different points in my cycle. And yeah, this last 6 months has been it is like a massive awakening. Like it's great, but it's like, wow, this is a lot. But it's so powerful, this work, that I just want every woman to kind of tap into it as much as they can because it's
Mhm.
incredible.
That's so neat. I love that. I'm a really big fan of living with the seasons and moving with the seasons, and not just, of course, within our year, but also as a woman throughout every single month. And you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. Did we speak on that when you were with us in the Women Rising event?
I think so. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure we did. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did in the fall,
Mm,
especially in the fall for me when living up here in Wisconsin, we're still up here. So it's very cold, it's very snowy.
yeah.
You know, we have like maybe 4 months where it's nice and sunny. So for me, if I catch myself in the seasons of my month in my cycle, and it is especially like my luteal phase, and it's
Mm,
snowy, and
yeah.
when we were in Women Rising in the winter last year, I don't want to do shit. I don't want to do anything. I just want to eat something warm and delicious, have some comfort food. I want to snuggle up with a blanket. And there were so many times I would say, especially when I was still down in Tennessee, when we were living down there until we moved here. So between like 2019 to 2021, like those couple of years is when it was becoming very clear to me that I needed to pay more attention to how I felt and what my body was doing throughout all the days of the month, instead of just putting myself to these standards and having these expectations, because then I wasn't reaching them. And the last thing we want to do is shame ourselves into any kind of fucking growth because that's not long lasting. Like, I think we all have been there. And like that's what we're trying to rid ourselves of. And when I spoke, I don't remember all of the Women Rising, but when I spoke last year, specifically in the fall retreat, we spoke about how if you are paying attention to what your body needs, what your mind needs, what your soul needs during each chapter of your cycle, each phase of it, you're going to be
Mm,
able to live life with a lot more ease. Because, like you said, you're not going to be putting yourself to this like 24-hour standard that you should be able to reboot and be the same woman tomorrow. And
mm,
like, for me and for us in our work, you know, creating content, speaking in making videos, I save a hell of a lot of that for during my ovulation. Like that's where I do most of it because
yeah.
if I wait to do it during my luteal phase, I will not. I will put my phone down and be like, fuck this. I have bags under my eyes. I don't know what to say. I'm going to cry if I talk about any of this. Like all I want's a cheeseburger. And it's those exact moments that, like, if you just see and shift some things around and set yourself up for success, on my end, I have found that it has changed my life. Is that
Mm.
where you sit with it as well? Like being able to move things in your calendar?
Yeah, 100%. You can sync your life to your menstrual cycle if you
Yeah.
understand it. And that's completely right what you said. So in your like follicular phase with when you're on your period, this is a time for so actually I just want to touch on because there's a company called the Red School who are all about menstrual health and they break it down into seasons. So your
Ooh.
follicular, your early follicular is your inner winter. So that's your period. So that's a time for deep rest, going inwards, taking time for you, sitting on the couch under a blanket with a cheeseburger. Definitely the time. 100%. And that's what we're supposed to do because there used to be a time where women would go and bleed together in red tents and come together as women. And obviously that doesn't happen anymore. I mean, there are places you can go and do that. But so people think that's weird because of the society we live in, but that's what we used to do.
Yeah.
Uh, and then as you head towards ovulation, that is your inner spring. So that's when you start, your energy levels start to rise. So that's kind of like your late follicular. And then you hit ovulation, which is your inner summer. And then that is obviously when you're at your highest energy. That's when you can get shit done, like plan holidays, social events, speaking events, plan all of that at that time because you're like, yeah, I can do everything. I can conquer the world. But then you had kind of heading back into your luteal phase, and then that's your inner autumn. So inner autumn is a really good place to sit with the inner critic because that's when it'll start to come up because that's when you have your premenstrual symptoms. So it's a really good time to start going inward, start listening to that inner critic a little bit. It'll talk a lot of shit, so you've just got to kind of like get past that, but there'll be like little like wisdom, like little nuggets in there that you'll be like, okay, this is something maybe I need to work on. So if you honor those phases, honestly your life will change. 100%. That's what's happened with me.
That's so fantastic. And I do love that they do it with the seasons as well. I mean, I feel like that's part of all of our journeys as women is when we are on, whether you say healing, expansion, development, whatever, you reach a space, a phase where you start to recognize just how connected we are. You don't see that it's you and nature. You realize that you are nature.
Yeah.
And the seasons that we see in nature very much exist within us as women as well. And so I love that they have that. And I love that you mentioned the red tents. Just a quick side note. So there's a woman who has been with me in the Brazen Sisterhood since basically the beginning of its existence. And her name is Gwen. She is an incredible energy worker among many things. She's also, she does a lot of priestess work and she does a lot of work with women who have just a spicier brain and helping them be able to hone that in and use it as a superpower. So she used to do expander calls for us in the sisterhood and she did run red tent ceremonies in there. So we weren't like sitting in there on video bleeding together by any means. But it was really incredible what she was talking about and teaching and sharing her knowledge and wisdom on. And it was really cool to sit in those spaces with her and with the other women in the sisterhood speaking about these type of things because before Gwen and I had really dove into it together, I didn't really recognize how much I had been pulled away from being a woman and those really sacred sisterhood moments of
Yeah.
the bleeding, of the red tent, of the honoring your body in that way. And I
Mm.
just think that's so cool that you mentioned that. So there's that. And then
Yeah.
also, I have to know because you teach this. So
Mm.
for me, my luteal phase is when I am like, don't talk to me. I'm a tired girl. Leave me alone. And like my follicular is honestly, I feel like during my follicular, it is more of I want to plan. I want to sit with my calendars out all over with like all my highlighters and all my colored pencils. And that feels really juicy and good to me at those times. And I've played with not even scheduling certain things. So like right now I am in my luteal phase. So I still am taking some podcast episodes, clearly. I'm still
Mhm.
doing certain things, but there's going to be a space here in a few days where I cut that off because it's about 4 days for me before I start my bleed where I if I don't cry, I might become a bitch within 2 seconds. Like I have to sleep, cry. I probably need to take a bath. And I have to honor that because otherwise, like you said, like you're not actually sitting with it and honoring it. So is that what you see for most women, or is it there a lot of change in those cycles for everyone?
So that how you kind of described it is like the archetypal
Is it?
cycle.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we should be doing. Of course, every woman is different, and you are going to feel at home in different places in your cycle, depending at what kind of age bracket you're in or what is even going on in your life.
Yeah,
So, absolutely, with the luteal phase, it is the time to slow down. 4 days before, absolutely, what you're doing is perfect. Slowing down, going inwards, taking time for you and what you need. And yeah, absolutely like doing stuff like this, I'd just be like, nope, I can't even like my brain. I'd have to have everything written down, otherwise it'd just like go. So, yeah, that makes total sense. But if you were maybe slightly younger, so if you're maybe in your 20s,
yeah,
you probably aren't going to be in this kind of mindset just yet because you kind of just push through. Because you're younger, you're kind of just pushing through and you maybe not be connected to yourself as much. But I feel like because you've said that and you're honoring the cycles, you are deeply connected to you and you're listening to your body rather than trying to push through, which as women, we are all guilty of doing at some point.
for sure.
Mhm.
So interesting. Well, knowing that, I'm sure there's other women that are listening right now. So I want to give a shout out to the women that are listening, specifically like just honing in on the woman listening right now. And she's like, oh shit, this is the conversation I've been needing. Can you give her, the woman listening right now, the woman who is, we'll say, still tracking cycle,
Mhm.
still living in cycle, and then
Mhm.
also the woman who is going into the next phases of her life? What would you give to her? What would you say to her right now? And also, while we're there, we might as well ask or let them know how they can come work with you, like walking them through what those look like and then how they can come to you so you can help.
Amazing. Yes. So for me, it's, and especially when you're maybe mid 30s, late 30s, heading into 40s, that's the kind of age bracket of women that I work with.
Mhm.
It's a time of reconnecting back to you. So if you're already tracking your cycle, amazing. So the next layer would be to have a journal and to write down every day how you're feeling. Like I said, sexual energy, synchronicities, energies, anything that kind of comes up from the day. Write down what day, like day 6, and then write down how you're feeling. And if you've not done that before, like you might write a couple of lines to start with, but as you deepen into the practice and you do this every day, more will come out and more of you will start to come out because you're connecting back to the little tweaks that are happening in your body. And the more you start to notice, the more that will come out. So that would be like the next layer. And then working with me, we kind of go even deeper. So then we're going to be looking at like lifestyle, nutrition, exercise, mindset. It's like a whole, you have to look at the whole lifestyle when we're going into perimenopause, because if we can get ourselves on an even keel now, then it's going to help to manage symptoms as they come up, which has happened for me. So for me, my cycle was really irregular. I've managed to get it back into a 28-day cycle using menstrual cycle awareness only. That's the only thing that's changed. I obviously I'm a personal trainer, so I do all the nutrition and exercise and all that, but the menstrual cycle awareness has been like the last like missing piece. And especially for women who feel like they're losing their minds when they start going into because you do feel like you've lost the plot, but you haven't. It's you. I honestly believe it's like a disconnect. So hormones are going haywire and we feel a disconnect from our body. So it's about bringing us back to our bodies. So yeah, working with me, it's kind of, it'd be one-to-one coaching, 6 months minimum commitment. You can reach me on Instagram, Hormone Harmony Coach, and it's just about diving into you. This coaching is all about you and how we can help you get from where you are to where you want to be, but without like stupid, there's no diets, there's no nothing like that. It's
Yeah,
just focusing on you and putting you first because you've put so many other people before you for so long, you know, your
yeah,
husband, your kids, what, whoever it is. And this is about reclaiming you not anybody else.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you do this again. Because, when you work with a coach or a mentor or anything, it's never that you can't find what we are teaching somewhere else. That is
Mm,
never the case.
no.
You work with a coach or a mentor for many reasons, and the biggest one, 9 times out of 10, is the accountability piece.
Yeah.
And so you're not throwing a fucking spaghetti at the wall anymore, right? Like just hoping something works. And in an age where, this age of technology is incredible. I will never shut up about what an incredible time it is to be alive. I mean, so many opportunities, so much knowledge. And sometimes all that knowledge is a bit overwhelming and it puts you into this like analysis paralysis where you're like, I don't even know what the fuck to do. Like, I remember the first time I found out a few pieces of my journey. I'm like, we were supposed to do that the whole time. I had no idea. Like, who told you that? Like, I mean, from mindset to body work and somatic work to any of it, like you find out certain things and you're like, did these people know it the whole time? And I've just been walking around a whole ass adult not knowing this. And in this age of technology and information and connection, we're learning a lot. And I think that's one of the biggest things I hear from clients is like, there's so much out there. There's so much to learn. There's so many things I'm realizing I didn't fucking know that would have helped me. And they really just come to work with us because they want to have the guidance. They want to have the support. They want it to be easier. They don't want to throw fucking spaghetti at the wall. They want to have a program that is set, that is not necessarily black and white, but is foundational and helps them feel safe in the process. And I don't know that there's any other process that's more important to really have that structure with than when you're working with hormones. Because, like you said, it affects every single part of our lives. Mindset, nutrition, fitness is all combined. And the last thing that we're going to want when we feel like we've disconnected from our bodies and from our minds, and we're going through all these changes that, like you said, nobody fucking tells us about for the most part. The last thing that you want is to be throwing spaghetti at a wall there. So if anybody's out there listening, I know Holly from working with her myself. She's an incredible woman. Like, I haven't been your client yet, but yet, we'll say yet, because goodness knows I may need that soon. But like, you're such an amazing woman. You are so genuine. You are truly one of the most well-spoken women when it comes to not only your journey and expressing that, but also holding space for others while you're allowing them to you're meeting them where they are. We'll say that. You don't meet people where you are. You meet them where they are, and you hold so much space for that. So if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're like, I didn't even know that this was an option to work with a woman to help me through these changes of my life, please seek Holly out. She's such an incredible person. And this work is so important. I mean, again, what an amazing time to be alive, not only for the technology, but coaches and mentors really didn't exist like this even 20 years ago. I mean, there were there, but not as accessible. And if a woman can work with you for 6 months or do one of your breakthrough calls, which I'd love to hear more about, if they can do this, then they can not only feel connected, which is so important to be connected to other women, but they can know that they're not losing their fucking minds and that it is a light at the end of the tunnel. So will you tell them about those breakthrough calls so they know how they can get in touch with you there too?
Yeah, of course. So if you're thinking, okay, maybe I'm not ready for a full 6 month commitment, then I do just 1 hour coaching calls, which
Nice.
is maybe one topic, a couple of topics that you need some help around. So it would be strategy. So you would have like a plan to go away. For example, if it was to lose weight, that's
Yeah.
just an easy one. So the plan of action to do that, but also help with like the mindset around it, because losing weight is difficult for a lot of women, and especially going into perimenopause, it becomes more difficult. So having a proper plan of action and also having the right mindset in place to achieve it is what we kind of dive into in that 1 hour call. And obviously it's not just like a 1 hour call and then I'm not going to talk to you. Of course, if you need like any like further guidance, I will always help women in the DMs. I'll always reach out. I have ex-clients who are always like messaging, just like, oh, can you just help me with this? And that's really nice that they feel like they can come back to me. So yeah, if you're not quite ready for the full 6 months, then maybe just like dipping your toe in and saying, okay, let's just see what she's all about.
Yeah. Oh, I love that you've created a community that feels safe enough with you to reach out like that.
Mm. Yeah, it's nice. It is nice.
Very cool. It's very cool too that they're able to get to know your teaching style.
Mm.
Like when it comes to coaches and mentors, again, like you can find this information anywhere. You can
Yeah.
read a book, listen to a podcast, go on the internet, but each person comes because of who is teaching them. And for you to be able to have those breakthrough calls with them where they get to know you, get to know your teaching style,
Mm.
get to know what you expect from your clients, because I think every coach and mentor is different in that aspect as well. I think that's really, really awesome that you offer that and it's so accessible.
Yeah, yeah, it's very accessible. I want it to be because, coaching is seen as a luxury. I understand that completely. So these are very affordable ways to kind of work with me and just get some guidance around something that you're struggling with. And like you say, there's so much crap on the internet about what you should and shouldn't do that
Mhm.
I just want to make it super simple and break it down. And I also want like coaching to be looked upon as it's not a quick fix. Like none of this is a
Yeah.
quick fix. It's a full lifestyle change that you will have to keep up for the rest of your life because it's about age proofing your body as you get older. Because women, we have high rates of osteoporosis, heart disease, and they now think that is linked to the decline in the hormones. So age proofing your body with the right nutrition, the right exercise, and then the right mindset is gonna like do you wonders going, 60s, 70s, 80s and beyond.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you are changing so many women's lives. And
Mm-hmm.
you're doing it because you've taken your journey and you decided, hey, I'm gonna step up. And I'm guessing that there a coach that you worked with at all, or are you stepping into a space that you saw a real need for?
Yeah, I've stepped into the place where I saw a need for it.
Yeah.
I kind of just did my own research. I worked with an amazing personal trainer who helped me fix like knee problems, but he actually dove into a lot of the feelings that were trapped in my body, which kind of opened my eyes up to something else. But apart from him, it's just been me trying to discover what works for me in
Yeah.
order to help other women.
Oh,
Mm.
that is the one of the most brave, fucking outstanding things that I truly believe a person can do. Like so brave, so inspiring to say, I saw a need, I saw a space to fill. And instead of saying, well, I wish somebody would do that, you said, I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
step into this space. That's so incredible because it's blazing a trail. It's a brand new area that unfortunately, well, I think that there was something I had read recently that not only is it unfortunate that there's not a whole lot to be taught about this, but I think I just read that like we just started using real blood for tampons and to test their
Yes.
absorbency. Like what
Yeah.
how and when was that?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was only recently, even like on adverts, that they would show the blood as blue. It
Yeah.
wasn't red in the adverts. And that's how censored it is in women's everything. There's no tests or anything done on women because of our hormonal profile. And
Hmm.
the pill hasn't changed since the 1950s. Like nothing's changed about it. And yeah, I mean, that's another bone of contention I could go into.
Oh,
Women just been put on the pill, just masking
yeah.
symptoms. I just want no woman on hormonal contraception because it
Yeah.
cocks up your body, basically.
Oh, I completely agree. I was on the depot shot and I want to say it was like a maximum. My goodness, I don't even remember. Maybe they said 5 years. Now this was, 20 years ago or so. And I was on it for about 12.
Yeah.
And no one told me jack shit about anything. And I remember they told me that my insides had been mummified. Like that was the statement. Like, and
Wow.
it stuck with me my whole life. Like the thought process, I honestly couldn't even tell you how I felt in that moment. I think I kind of just like left my body because I was at such a young age and I was so unsure if I wanted to have a child and birth a child myself to begin with. But being told that this depot shot that I was using, which originally started, my mom actually went and helped me get on it to try to control my period, which is
Yeah.
mind blowing. Fucking who thought that up? But to be told that this depot shot that was supposed to help me not have a pregnancy that was unwanted now had basically taken away my ability to have a child. And then I had no further information. They were like, yeah, it's basically like mummified, and then just pushed me out the door. And I'm like,
What?
okay, cool. And to
Wow.
know that I was then going to be bleeding for quite some time or not bleeding, like there was no education. And the more that I dug into that, and I started my journey, just like you were saying, of like really trying to, for me, it was a lot of regulation with alcohol. I was drinking alcohol way more than I should have, and I wasn't honoring my cycle in any way, shape, or form. And I started doing that, and so many great things happened, including going back into a really steady cycle and having my body find a lot more balance and harmony. And during
Mm.
that process, I I don't remember where I read this. It might have been from Alyssa Betty, but it was talking about research being done on certain prescription pills and big pharma, and also with any type of hormonal pills, about how
Mm.
they don't test them on women who actually are in the bleed. Because if they are bleeding, then they've had women that have lost pregnancies, they've had women that have had serious issues. So they just stopped testing certain big pharma pills and prescription, all this stuff on women of that age, simply because the result was they wouldn't be able to fucking sell it. So they actually only test, I mean, anxiety pills, depression pills, like fucking
Yeah.
heart disease, everything. They
Mm.
only test them on women who are in menopause or men. That's
Wow.
it. So if you are a woman on those, there's actually no fucking studies that have been done about how it affects you. And that blew my mind because I was like, whoa, hold up. You're
Hmm.
telling me that this depot fucking shot that I have been on, that I was
Mm.
allowed to be on for way longer than I should have, then I get told as a very young woman that my insides have been mummified, which is the most horrific thing to hear. And
Hmm.
then I found out that whoever's in charge here, quote unquote, has not even been testing a lot of this stuff on women and making sure that it's even safe for us. That was an eye opener for me to
Yeah.
really understand that I had to take my own feminine health, my own overall health into my own hands, because I was trusting a system that was broken, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, is that where you have been on your journey as well?
Yeah. I was on the pill for a long time, like a
Oh,
long
shoot.
probably until the age of 30. So yeah, good 15, 16 years because, you know, you don't want to get pregnant. So your mum puts you on the pill, you know, because that's what everybody did. But
Yeah.
now it's coming out all this stuff that it fucks up your body. Like, and as women, it does. And I think that's why as well we're so disconnected because we're not having a period. You're having a withdrawal bleed. Those 7 days where you stop taking the pill is a withdrawal bleed. It's not your period because you're not ovulating. So
I
they
never
create
thought of that.
they created that 7 day break to mimic the period in order for it to pass and for them to be able to get it to market, which blew my mind when I found that out. So many women will
Chloe,
think
you
they're
are
having a
blowing
period
my
and
mind.
they're not. They're not.
Oh
I know.
my gosh. That like my whole body literally has goosebumps right now. Like that is, I mean, it makes sense from what we were just talking about. I mean, of course, 1 + 1 = 2, but that is so incredibly fucked.
Yeah. And then HRT, so that's what you can take when you get into perimenopause. I took it for a short time. It helped me, but then I felt like I was back on the pill because
Mhm.
it's hormones, it's synthetic hormones. And yes, they say it's by body identical, but it's still synthetic hormones. Um, so I came off it, and there are studies to show that yes, it can help with bone density and all these things. But if you live an active, healthy lifestyle, you can protect yourself the natural way and you
Yeah.
can connect back to your body without all this crap in your body that you don't know what it is. Like you don't, you're just told by these companies, this will help you, it will help you feel better, but it's just masking symptoms. It's not getting to the root cause of what's happening in your body. And this is why I'm so passionate about this, because I know how my life has changed by coming off all synthetic hormones and just doing it naturally so that every woman can do it. Some women, it's going to take longer and it's going to be harder because of, medication they've been on, mental health and all that. But you can get to a place where you can change your life and feel better without crap in your body.
Mm. This is such an important conversation. Such an
Mhm.
important conversation. Okay, so we talked about the heavy stuff, which nobody wants to talk about, but you just blew my mind even further within that. So the listener right now, I want you to know there are a lot of things that we're talking about that feel like weight on the shoulders of, well, what the fuck then? Like, this is a world that doesn't feel right. Like, it doesn't feel right that women are going through this. And it's not right. So with that in the back pocket that we've already discussed, how do you help them figure it out? How do you help them get to from a space of, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming, or I don't have any connection to my body? What
Mhm.
does it look like for you to walk a woman through all of those hurdles? And then what does it feel like at the end for her? Because I imagine that when a woman reconnects and she's doing this journey alongside of you, that it's the most magical thing in the whole fucking world.
Yeah, absolutely. Because little light bulb moments happen as along the journey. And we start simple. Like I'm not going to be like, if you sit all day and you have a crap diet, I'm not going to be like, right, you need to eat this, you need to do 10,000 steps, you need to be 5 times in the gym. No, because that's not going to work. Like no one's going to
Right.
do be like, what the fuck? No, not doing that.
Right.
So simple things like let's cut out all processed food. Let's cook from scratch. Let's do 5,000 steps. Let's drink an extra glass of water. If you've never been to the gym, you don't have to go to the gym. You can do it at home. We can buy some weights, do a few bits at home, baby steps. But also the negotiable for me is menstrual cycle awareness. This is the linchpin and the catalyst to what is going to change everything, because this is what happened with me. So I was already doing all the things, sleep, all the mental health side. I love doing ice baths. I love doing that. It's so much fun. Just things that make me feel good. But the little like light bulb moment for me has been the menstrual cycle awareness and connecting back to the body. So you may feel in a place where nothing makes sense. You feel like you've lost your sense of self and you lose your confidence. And that could be from a number of things. You don't like the way you look, but we're never going to focus on the scale weight. It's always going to be how you feel it. It's losing weight is a byproduct of what happens when working together, but it's never the main focus. So you may start by feeling like you've lost your sense of self and confidence, but slowly along the way, we celebrate all the little wins. So if you barely walk 2,000 steps, if you walk 3,000 steps, that's a win. If you cook your first meal from scratch, that's a win. You've drunk an extra glass of water, that's a win. Had 8 hours sleep, whatever it is, it's celebrating the little things and practicing the gratitude for all the little things that are happening in your life, because that has been a massive game changer for me as well. Really practicing daily gratitude. And once you start to appreciate all the little things, then when the big things happen, it just means so much more.
Hmm.
So it's just, and it is a journey, and it's about tapping into you. I worked with a client actually recently, and she'd got to a point where she actually booked herself a boudoir shoot because
Love
she
that.
felt so good. And like when she started, she was so nervous about working with me. She was like, I've worked with coaches and it's not worked. And then after like the first week, she sent me this voice note saying, it's only fucking working. I can't believe it. I've lost 2 pounds. I haven't lost anything in fucking years. And I was like, yes. And all we've done is started cooking stuff from scratch. And I think a lot of it as well with weight is mindset.
Mhm.
And if you can change your mindset and view it, and for me as well, detaching from the outcome, setting the goal, but detaching yourself from that and just focusing on the little steps to get there. And yeah, magical things happen.
Of course they do. You're a beautiful human. Of course they do. Incredible coach, beautiful human. You're again so well spoken, beyond intelligent. You've been diving into this work. So not only do you have the knowledge, but you have the wisdom from your own experiences and walking that. It only makes sense that your clients have magical experiences. That's incredible.
Oh, thank you.
What is before I even ask this question, I'm the queen of prefacing. I have a whole conversation laid out in my brain. Do you have that too? Do you have a spicy brain where the whole thing happens? Okay.
Yeah, go off on
That
a
runs
tangent.
smooth. I was going to ask you what you feel feminine power truly is. And before I go into that, I just have to tell the listener to go check out your fucking content. I was telling you again before we pressed record, you exude feminine power and you do it in a way that is so needed. You exude it as the woman who has her hand out, and you're like, yeah, I have mine blaring, dials up. I have it bright on, and come here, you can turn yours on too. Like, that is so needed. You are so the woman, and you know how this is exactly what I do in my world, my community. You are the woman who rises and helps others rise. That is such a foundation for you. So I think that is such a huge piece to the puzzle because that is such a big piece of feminine power. But what do you feel like feminine power truly is?
It's been comfortable in your own skin and been
Mm,
completely unapologetically you,
mm,
which is really difficult for a lot of women. Like in your 20s, you're not quite sure. And then you kind of head into your 30s where you feel a little bit more self-assured. And then 40s, you're supposed to be like, boom, I don't give a fuck. I am here. But then perimenopause hits and you're like, fucking hell, this is all gone to shit. So I want to help women at that point so that they can step into their full, authentic, unapologetic self and be
yeah.
fully confident no matter what you look like, what your weight is, just to be comfortable with you. Because that's where I've got to now. I'm just comfortable with me.
Yeah.
And it's about not caring what anybody thinks. And that's so liberating to not give a shit.
It is.
Okay, like why would it get me blue hair for God's sake? Like what?
It looks so good on you, Holly. Your blue hair looks so good on you. I love
Thank you.
it.
Yeah, just every woman to feel that because there's so many women that just hide away and shy away and it's no like wear that outfit, have that color hair. Like I speak to women and like, oh, I can never do that. Why not? Who cares? It's you. Just be all of you and that's full feminine power.
Mm. Fuck, period. Stamp. Love that.
Own it.
Well, it has been an absolute honor having you here. And truly, I mean that. Like, I say it often, I mean it every single time. It's been an honor from the moment I met you up until now being able to record this episode with you. It's been an incredible journey. I'm so excited for everything that you have happening. You are such a powerhouse woman. You really are. And oh, you're gonna make me, I'm gonna
I
get
know.
emotional. You truly are. You're such a powerhouse woman. And again, like I've had you in my community now for what, about a year or
Mm,
so? Feel
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You exude every single thing that is good in this world, truly. You really do. You are an amazing woman, and anybody that works with you is going to have the time of their life and have the most magical experiences. Thank you for doing this work.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It means a lot. And when it's true when you like find your tribe and you
Mm,
connect with these women, it it makes such a difference because I think a lot of women have had a lot of negative experiences with other women,
yeah.
whereas really we should be joining together and celebrating one another, which is
Mhm.
what happens in spaces with you because your
Oh,
spaces are amazing. They
thank
bring all
you.
these women together and they're just so expansive and yeah, amazing.
Well, thank you. I love hanging out with you. I hope you come back. Would you like to come back on the podcast?
Yeah, I'd love to come back.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, we will definitely talk about that. I'm so excited to have you back. And my computer is acting a little funky, so I want to make sure that we get every piece of this episode in. I don't want it looks like it might be shutting down, so I want to be careful. I know that's kind of how things have been the last few weeks. It's all good. But before we wrap up, I always ask the listener to go and do something kind for themselves and kind for others and to mean it, for it to be genuine. So I'm going to pass the buck over to you. And Holly, before you give them that, will you just remind the listener where they can find you and how they can contact you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, Hormone Harmony Coach. I do one-to-one coaching or the breakthrough coaching calls. Just drop me a DM. We can have a chat, jump on a call, and just get you feeling amazing.
Love that. Love that. So, how would you like them to go do something kind for themselves and kind for others?
Kind for themselves. So just if you can, Take an hour out this week at some point. Just pencil in an hour for you, not for
Mm,
anybody else. Get someone to look after the kids, go for a walk, just something to honor yourself, because self-care is so big in, as women, we should be doing it all the time anyway. But in perimenopause, we should be doing this more often because it's about
mm.
putting first. And then for other people is go and tell your best friend to do the same. Go and tell your sister or your mum to
Yeah,
do the same. Because then if you tell one woman, then she goes and tells someone else. And then that's how the ripple effect happens. And then that's how everything changes.
I love that so much. Thank you for being here, Holly. You're such an amazing woman, doing such incredible work. Listener, please go find Holly. Do it right now. Like literally pause this episode, go find her on Instagram, go send her a message and be like, hey, Holly, I heard you on Brazen. I fell in love. I want to work with you. Please, 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 because she's such an incredible person. Holly, thank you again for being here. Listener, I'm in. Do the hour for yourself. Go tell your sister, your mom, your friend to do it. And I'm going to ask you to just smile at strangers. Like, don't get weird. Like, don't Grinch smile at them and freak them out. But like, just start smiling more at strangers and notice how much that changes your life and changes other people's lives. Holly, thank you for being here. We'll chat again soon. See you
Thank
guys later.
you.
Bye.